Okay, so now what we're trying to do is we're trying to total up the total amount of hours that they spend working in general. So how would I describe the total amount of time they spend working? So I don't need to introduce a new variable. I want you to use what we already have. Okay? So the question is, how do I describe the total amount of time they work in general using what we just came up with? Okay. So I want you to think about that. So just to refresh so far, we know that they can work at most 20 hours, so 20 is going to be either greater. They can work 20, so it's going to be also equal to. We know that D describes the number of hours dog walking, and C describes the number of hours car washing. So I want you to think about, how would I total up the amount of hours they spend working? Okay, so hopefully you guys have thought about it.
Wait, to do both jobs?
Right, of both jobs together.
Okay.
Right, so it would just be D plus C, right? Because the total amount of hours they spend dog walking and the total amount of hours they spend car washing, we just add them together, right? We just add them together. So D plus C is less than or equal to 20, right? That total amount of hours they work is going to be equal to 20 or less than 20. Okay, the second total that we can talk about here is 92. And it says here, you need to earn at least $92 to cover your weekly expenses. So the question you want to ask here is, can they earn less than 92? Can they earn less than 92?
No.
So here, no. So yeah, you need to earn at least 92. Can they equal $92?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, so if they can equal 92, we have the equal sign under there. Can they earn more than $92?
Yes.
Yes, so then we would know that how much they earn is greater than or equal to 92. Okay, so now I want you to think about, how do we show how much money they make dog walking? How do we show how much money they make just dog walking? Alberto? So how would I write an expression to describe how much money they make just dog walking?
Can you come back?
Yes, that's fine. Good question. Nick?
You multiply D with 7.50.
Okay, why?
Because that D is equal to how much hours he's dog walking,
Okay,
and then 7.5 is how much he's making per hour.
okay.
And also you add the product of those two, and then add it to C times $6, because C is equal to how much hours car washing, and 6 is how much money you get per hour dog washing.
Exactly. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, so when he said you have to multiply 20 by 760, right?
So he said that you have to multiply D times 7.5 because D represents how many hours he works.
Oh, that makes sense.
So as an example, if D is equal to 1, then it would be 1 times 7.5, which is equal to 7.5, which just means you earn 7.5, right? But if they work 2 hours, then it would be 2 times 7.5, which then means they get $15, right? And then additional 7.5 for each additional hour. So a good way to describe that is you just multiply how much money they make by how many hours they work, which we don't know, so we just write it as D. And then since $6 is how much they make for car washing, we multiply it times the amount of hours they work car washing, which is 6C. And so there we have both of our inequalities. Okay, so this would be part of the problem asking us to describe the inequalities, and then we would go ahead and form them like this. The second part of the problem would ask us to graph these, and we'll talk about these more next week. We'll practice this a little more. There's going to be some problems on here on Delta Math, but they're going to graph it for you. You do need to know how to manipulate the equations, so we're going to talk about that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you would manipulate that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what would happen here. I'm going to replace some of the variables here just so you can get a better understanding. Because on the example problems, they only use x and y. So here, I'm going to just replace d with x and c equals y. So this is, again, I'm doing this so that you can see how you can graph these. Okay, so when you graph problems, is y by itself or is x by itself usually? So when you graph these inequalities, is x usually by itself or is y by itself? So usually y is by itself. So our whole intention here is to make sure that y is by itself. So in this first equation, again, I'm just converting this, d plus c is less than or equal to 20, to this same equation. So I'm going to first just minus x on both sides. And you can see here, now y it's by itself is less than or equal to negative x plus 20. And I would be able to graph this on my own, right? This looks really familiar. The other one looks a lot more complicated here. So again, what I would do first is subtract 7.5x from both sides. I would get 6y is greater than or equal to negative 7.5x plus 92. And then you see that y is almost by itself, but there's a number in front of y right now. So the last thing I would need to do is to divide both sides by 6. And just as a reminder, if anything is separated by a plus or a minus, I need to divide it also by 6. So I get y is greater than, and I can't have fractions here, but I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And I get 92 divided by 6. So again, what I'm trying to show you is I want to show you how to get y by itself for tonight's problem.